Assalamu alaikum students, I hope you all are well, safe and healthy at home. So I'm your English instructor Farzana Khan. Welcome to all of you in this class of Sementics. So dear students, previously you were taught about meanings and the types of meanings. In previous lecture we have discussed basically the first three types of the meaning. Rest of the four types we are going to discuss in today's class. So before moving towards the discussion of rest of the four types of meaning, let me tell you about what is meaning. It is what a language expresses about the world where we do live. So any possible or imaginary world. So meaning is always the meaning of something, because words have meaning, phrases have meaning, sentences have meaning, and action and deeds also have their meanings. So Geoffrey Leach has given us the 7 types of meaning: conceptual, denotative meaning, connotative meaning, social meaning. These are the 3 types of the meaning which we have discussed in the previous class. So in today's class we are going to talk about affective or emotive meaning, reflected meaning, collocative meaning, and thematic meaning. Let's start from the affective or emotive meaning. So when we talk about affective or emotive meaning, for some linguists it refers to emotive association or effects of words which are evoked in readers, listener, or we can say the person who is listening. So it is what that is conveyed about the personal feelings or attitude towards the listener. For example, the home for a soldier can have different meaning, the home for a sailor can have different meaning, and the home for the person who is living in a home can have the different meaning which are general and common meaning. So for a mother, the word mother for a motherless child has a different meaning. Because it will have a special effective and emotive quality for a child who has no mother. Similarly, the words which we use have different effects on the people according to their emotions, according to their association with that particular word. Basically, in effective meaning, language is used to express personal feelings or attitude. Basically, the language is used to express personal feelings or attitudes to the listener or the subject matter of this course, of the particular course. So for Geoffrey Leach, affective meaning refers to what is conveyed about the feeling and attitude of the speaker through use of language, because the attitude to listener as well as the attitude to what he is basically saying. So let's talk about further about the meaning. Basically, affective meaning is often conveyed through conceptual, connotative content of the words used. Let me explain this point with an example. You are vicious tyrant and a villainous reprobation, and I hate you. Right? So on the other side, the other sentence is I hate you, you idiot. I hate you, you idiot. Right? So basically we are left with a little doubt about the speaker's feelings towards the listener. Here speaker seems to have a very negative attitude towards his listeners in these both sentences. This is basically called affective meaning. But very often we are more discreet and we are more cautious and we convey our attitude indirectly. Because, for example, here you can see in this example, I am terribly sorry, but if you would be so kind as to lower your voice a little. So in this example, you can notice that irritation is little bit. So this statement conveys our irritation in a scaled down manner for the sake of politeness, because here the speaker is trying to be polite. So intonation and voice quality are also important here. Thus, the same sentence can be uttered in biting sarcasm, and the impression of politeness may be reversed while. For instance, if someone is uttering the sentence, "Will you belt up?" can be turned into a playful remark between intimates if said with the intonation or request. So intonation also plays very important role, because when we talk about the communication, it is basically the combination of verbal and non-verbal communication, and the effect of the non-verbal communication is more than the verbal communication. So intonation also come under the category of the non-verbal communication. So the words like darling, sweetheart have inherent emotive quality, and they can be used neutrally, because these are the words which also have naturally soothing effect for the other person. So experts also argued that emotive meaning distinguishes literature or poetic language from factual meaning of the science. Finally, it must be noted that affective meaning is largely a parasitic category. It overlaps heavily with style, connotation, and conceptual content. The next kind of meaning is basically the reflected meaning. When we talk about the reflected meaning, basically reflected meaning and collocative meaning involve interconnection. At the lexical level of language, reflected meaning arises when a word has more than one conceptual meaning or multiple conceptual meaning. In such cases, while responding to one sense of the word, we partially respond to another sense of the word too. Let me explain this point with an example. In daffodils, basically in poetry too, we have the reflected meaning. In the poem of Wordsworth, Daffodils, there is a statement like, "They could not be gay in such jocund company." Right? So here in this statement, the word gay was frequently used in the time of William Wordsworth, but the word now is used for homosexuality. So similar in such type of cases, multiple meaning, one meaning of the word pushes the other meaning to the background. Then the dominant suggestive power of that word prevails. This may happen because of the relative frequency or familiarity of the dominant meaning. So this dominant meaning which pushes the other meaning at the background is called the reflected meaning. So the sixth type of meaning which is given by the Geoffrey Leach is a word acquires in the company of certain words. Words collocate or co-occur with certain words only. For example, big business, not large or great business. So huge building can be called not a big building. So a collocative meaning is basically the meaning which a word acquires in the company of certain other words. So we are already aware that words collocate or co-occur with certain words. So collocative meaning refers to associations of a word because of its usual or habitual co-occurrence with certain types of the words. For example, the word pretty and the other word is handsome. So can you think about the words that how this particular word can be used? Can we use the word pretty for a male? Can we use the word pretty for a boy? Definitely no. The word pretty collocates with girls, with women. Similarly, on one tremble, similarly on the other side, the word handsome can collocate the boy, can collocate a man, because it basically indicates the good looking. So a pretty woman or a pretty girl, similarly a handsome boy or handsome man. So pretty collocates with girls are with women are women, etc., and handsome coquettes with boys, men, etc. So pretty women and handsome man are the proper way of using, a right way of using the meaning. So in this sense we can say the words coquettes, the other words. So let me discuss with all of you another example. So you can see in this example that because one trembles with fear, but one cannot quivers with fear, and one quivers with excitement, not with fear. So collocative meaning need to be invoked only when other categories of meaning don't apply. So generalizations can be made in case of other meanings, while collocative meaning is simply on idiosyncratic property of individual collocative words. I hope the point of collocative meaning is clear to all of you now. This was the sixth type of meaning, and now we are moving towards the seventh type of meaning, which is thematic meaning. It refers to what is communicated by the way in which a speaker or a writer organizes the message in terms of ordering, focus, and emphasis. Basically, it refers to what is communicated by the way in which a speaker or writer organizes the message in terms of ordering, focus, and emphasis. Thus, active voice sentence is different from its passive voice form, though its conceptual meaning is the same. Only the sentence structure can be changed, but the sense still remains the same. So various parts of the sentence also can be used as a subject and as the object. Sometimes we can use as the subject as the object, and object can be placed at the place of the subject, and it is done through focus on the theme or topic, or which basically emotive emphasis. Thematic meaning basically helps us to understand the message and its implication, because we change the structure of the sentence keeping in mind the focus that to which point we basically want to give the focus. If we want to give the focus to the object, then definitely we will replace the object with the subject, right? So for the purpose of emphasis, we change the structure of the sentence, but sense still remains the same, but emphasis is highlighted on the sentence, which makes the meaning further clear for the readers, that to which point we basically wants to highlight, and we want to highlight, or we want to emphasize. For example, let me explain with the examples in the next slide. Here you can see in this in these two examples, both are the statements in which only the changes of the place of the subject and object have been made just to give the emphasis. So basically, when we talk about the first example, the following statements in active, the first statement is the active and the second is the passive. So first statement is that Mrs. Salman donated the first prize, and the second statement is the first prize was donated by the Mrs. Salman. So the question arises, what's the difference here is? Basically, the first prize which was donated by Mrs. Salman, in the first sentence we can say that who gave away the prize is more important. Means Mrs. Salman, the focus has been given to Mrs. Salman, who has given the prize. Alright, this is the more important, the emphasis has been given to Mrs. Salman. Thus the change of the focus has been done in the second sentence. The first suggests that we already know Mrs. Salman. Right, in the second statement the focus has been given to the prize more. So the first suggests that we already know Mrs. Salman, perhaps though earlier mentioned it's non-given information while it's new information. So basically only with the change of the sentence structure we can emphasize, we can highlight the certain points for making our meaning more clear. So alternative grammatical construction also gives thematic meaning. For example, he likes Pakistani food most. Again, the Pakistani foods he likes most, it is the Pakistani goods he likes most. So basically we are talking about the Pakistani goods. So he likes Pakistani goods most. Pakistani goods, here the focus has been given on he, what he likes. In the second statement, the focus has been given to the Pakistani, that he Pakistani goods he basically likes, and it is Pakistani goods he likes. Alright. So stress and intonation also plays the prominent role for making the meaning clear. So here I have given another example for making the point more clear, that for which purpose the meaning has been given. Stress, intonation. For example, you can see John wears a cotton shirt. So here the focus has been given to the John, that what the John wears. So the kind of shirt that John wears is cotton. Here focus has been given on the kind of the shirt, not to the John. Here we are basically talking about that which kind of the shirt is basically wears. Here the focus is on John, the preference of the John, and here the focus has been given towards the kind of the shirt. Well, it is basically the thematic meaning. Let's talk about the other type of the meaning, associative meaning. Basically, Geoffrey Leach uses this as an umbrella term for the remaining 5 types of the meaning: connotative, social, affective, reflective, and collocative meaning. All these types have more in common with the connotative than the conceptual meaning. They all have the same open-ended variable character and can be analyzed in terms of scales or ranges, more or less than in either are contrastive terms. So these meanings contain many type of the factors, but conceptual meaning is stable. So associative meanings basically has been used for the connotative, social, affective, and reflective and collocative meaning. And the conceptual meaning are basically the actual, the neutral, literal, dictionary meaning of the words, which are different from rest of the other types of the meanings. So it's all about the 7 types of meaning which are given by the Geoffrey Leach. So now I'll basically give a brief overview of what we have discussed in this lecture and in the previous lecture, means the 7 types of the meaning. So when we talk about little bit about the summary of these 7 types of meaning, first of all, conceptual meaning. Conceptual meaning is also called logical or cognitive meaning. So conceptual meaning is also called logical or cognitive meaning. It is the basic propositional meaning which corresponds to the primary dictionary definition. These are basically the literal meaning. So the second type of meaning is connotative meaning. So what connotative meaning are basically what an expression means over and above its purely conceptual content. The additional meaning that a word or a sentence has beyond its central meaning. So basically the connotative meaning also show people's emotions and attitudes towards what a word or phrase refers to. So the third kind of meaning are the social meaning. So the meaning conveyed by the piece of language about the social context of its use is basically called the social meaning. So the next fourth type of meaning is affective meaning. For basically the affective meaning, what is communicated of the feelings and attitude of the speaker through language. In affective meaning, basically language is used to express personal feelings or attitude to the listener or to the subject matter of his discourse, because for Leach, affective meaning refers to what is conveyed about the feeling and attitude of the speaker through use of the language. So the fifth type of meaning is reflected meaning. What is communicated through associations with another sense of the same word. So reflected meaning and collocative meaning involve interconnection at the lexical level of language. Reflected meaning arises when a word has more than one conceptual meaning or multiple conceptual meaning. So the sixth kind of meaning is collocative meaning. So the sixth kind of meaning is collocative meaning. Collocative meaning basically what is communicated through association with words which co-occur with an other word. So in meaning which a word acquires in the company of certain other words, words collocate or co-occur with certain words only. For instance, as I gave you example while explaining big business, not large business. Alright, so thematic meaning is the seventh kind of meaning. What is communicated by the way in which the message is organized in terms of order and emphasis. Basically, it refers to what is communicated by the way in which a speaker or a writer organizes the message in terms of ordering, focus, and emphasis. Thus, active voice sentence is different from its passive voice. While these seven are the types of meanings, and lastly we have discussed the associative meaning. This is the eighth type. Basically you can say it's another type which basically in which the Geoffrey Leach has divided basically his types of meaning, in which he has stated that this is an umbrella term for the 5 types of the meaning. So it was all about the meaning and the types of meaning which we have discussed in today's class. I hope the points are very clear to all of you. I'll share with all of you the notes regarding these types of the meaning. So in case of any confusion, you can discuss with me in the class. So stay at home, stay safe, and take care. Allah Hafiz.